All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, and for the third part of the show, we're kind of just going to go through, some recent offseason rumors. Obviously with, like I talked about, Soto, Ohtani, Yamamoto off the board. We still got some other guys out there that still need to be signed, that could be traded. So we'll kind of go through, the recent, trade rumors and things like that. So we'll start off with, as of yesterday, it's being reported that the Yankees, the Rangers, and the Dodgers are among the teams that are interested in Josh Hader. The Dodgers, no surprise. They're just really trying to load up. Now, the thing about Josh Hader is, he two things. One, he wants to get a contract that is higher than Edwin Diaz's contract. Diaz's contract was a 5-year, $102 million deal with the Mets, obviously. Didn't play the first year, of course, because of the injury that he suffered in the World Baseball Classic. But yeah, Hader's looking for a deal that's higher than that. And, the three teams that are involved can definitely give him that deal. It's a matter of, will they? The Dodgers, they probably will. Because they're basically, printing money at this point. Well, they're not printing it, but you know what I mean. The Yankees could give him that deal too. But the thing with Hader is he only wants to pitch one inning. Like, he does not want to pitch multiple innings. Which, listen, for me, I like that flexibility in my bullpen. I like when you have guys that can pitch multiple innings. So that way you're just not, wasting guys. And, I would much rather have a guy that pitches multiple innings. Now, again, I wouldn't say no to having Josh Hader. He's one of the better closers, in the league. Now, there are times where he does blow games, and that's something that you have to worry about. Could be a little erratic sometimes. But, for me, I would take him, just to help the bullpen out. But for me as a Yankee fan, that's one thing that I've never really been worried about is the bullpen. I have confidence that the bullpen, will still be good next year, will still be effective. But, it's unfortunate that, they had to, trade Michael King to get Soto. But you got to do that. You got to do these type of things. You got to make sacrifices. So, Yankees, Rangers, and Dodgers are the teams that are interested in Hader. There's other teams as well, I'm sure. For me, I feel like the Yankees are the least likely to get him. I feel like the Rangers or the Dodgers will end up with him. I don't know. I feel like the Yankees, they want to... I think the Yankees, for me, they have to address their rotation. I think that's probably... Right now, that's probably like the more important thing. That should be the main priority is you got to, either you trade for somebody... or you sign a free agent, with what's out there. I think that's what they have to do, is prioritize, fixing this rotation, because right now, outside of Garrett Cole, you have a bunch of question marks. So I think, the Dodgers, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up with Hader. The Rangers, we'll see. They got some money to spend as well. So obviously, you still have Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell out there. I did talk about how, their, West Coast teams have been reaching out to Blake Snell. So, we'll see. The Red Sox actually, apparently the Red Sox and a Yankee podcast I watch, apparently the Red Sox and Montgomery have mutual interest. So we'll see if he ends up going there. The Red Sox also are interested in bringing back James Paxton. So we'll see if that ends up happening as well. Another former Yankee. But, listen, the Red Sox, that's one thing they got to fix, too, is their rotation. They can't be relying on Chris Sale, at this point. He's not the same pitcher as he once was, and, he continues to get hurt, too, So they got to try to, strengthen their rotation, because that's also something that's been a weakness, for a while now. And they've lost some guys over the years. Obviously, you had Evaldi leaving and going and winning the championship with the Rangers. Because, Evaldi was, one of their better pitchers for a while, going back to their World Series run when they had that juggernaut of a team. But, yeah, we'll see. what ends up happening. But again, teams need pitching, and we'll see where these guys end up going. I guess it really looks like Snell's going to end up on the West Coast just with a different team, and then Montgomery, we'll see. The Yankees have interest in Montgomery, so I'll take him. To be a middle of the rotation guy. I'll definitely take him, but I'd want him playing to his strengths, pitching to his strengths, because he used his fastball a lot more, which I guess is something that the Yankees, didn't have him doing. So, yeah, have him pitch to his strengths if he does come back. But I mean, if they did get him back, I wouldn't be like, overjoyed by the fact that he'd be back. I mean, I'd be happy because at least hey, that's a hole plugged up in the rotation. But I mean, but he did. Listen, he is coming off of winning a world championship with the Rangers, so he's definitely he's a different pitcher than he was when he left New York when they traded him. So the Giants are in the news, of course. They are. It says they're in on MLB at Bat. They're big game hunting. So supposedly they're in on Snell, Bellinger, and Matt Chapman. I mean they got some holes they got to plug up too. Well, I shouldn't say some, but yeah, I mean they're trying to. They want to compete, and unfortunately for them, these last couple of seasons they've missed out on free agents. Judge, Correa. They did sign Jung-Hoo Lee. So that at least was something. But you want to get some of these guys that are still out there. And I mean, listen, if you could go and get a pitcher and maybe get Bellinger, I mean, yeah, that's an okay offseason, I guess. I don't know if that's going to be good enough to compete with the Dodgers. And if you figure the Diamondbacks are going to be better next year. I mean, they obviously added Eduardo Rodriguez to their rotation. They brought back Lourdes Gurriel Jr. So they're trying to run it back and prove to everybody that this year wasn't a fluke. So we'll see. But yeah, the Giants. I mean, they want to compete. They're it's a new era, of Giants baseball, because pretty much everybody from the World Series team is gone. Brandon Crawford was really like one of the last remaining pieces there. So it's a new era. So they want to, they still want to pack that stadium out. So, we'll see if they end up getting any of these guys. I feel like they'll get at least one of them. Because now with the Bellinger market, it's kind of like, it's kind of like shrinking. Like you don't like, where is he going to end up? It's. I mean, are teams just reluctant to give him give him a big contract? I mean, listen, like the Cubs seem like the most likely spot. Especially like because you had the Blue Jays and the Cubs that I was talking about how they were like the favorites, but now the Blue Jays just brought back Kiermaier. They signed. Well, I don't think signing IKF really matters, even though he's a utility guy. But maybe they're just not in on Bellinger. Maybe they don't want to give him that contract. So I don't know. Maybe the Giants are the team that does it. I did talk about how the Angels are reportedly interested in Snell. The Red Sox and the Mets are among teams showing interest in Lucas Giolito. But, he kind of had a rough season, last year. I mean, it just was not a good year. It was a rough year for him. So I don't know, the Red Sox are probably looking for some guys that could just eat up innings, and he's a guy that could do that, I guess. The Mets, these are two teams that need help in their rotation. But Giolito coming off of the season that he had last year, I don't know. But if that's what they decide to do, then that's what they that's what they decide to do. So, but yeah, then also Teoscar Hernandez, who I think is one of the more underrated free agents that are out there. The Dodgers, the Angels, and the Red Sox are showing interest in him. I feel like wherever he goes, he's going to be good. He's like I said, he's one of the more underrated free agents. He was good with the Blue Jays, of course. I think he got off to a little bit of a slow start with the Mariners, but then he kind of picked it up. So wherever he goes, I think he's going to be productive. Um, I don't think the Dodgers necessarily need him. I mean, the Angels, they kind of need, help with now Ohtani leaving. The Red Sox, that would be a good fit for them. The familiarity, with the AL East. So, well, I'm kind of hoping he doesn't come back because he killed the Yankees. So I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't come back, but we'll see. Yeah, and I did talk about the Red Sox being interested in bringing back Paxton. Yeah, because I'm just going through what's on MLB. So also, the Mets were eyeing I almost said Victor Martinez, JD Martinez. Actually, the other day when I was with my friends, we were they had us guessing like the certain years for who finished in the top 10 in the MVP voting, and Victor Martinez was one of them for one of the years. I think one of the years he was with Detroit, I want to say. So that's why he was on my mind. JD Martinez also played for the Tigers too, but JD Martinez is another guy. Like, I feel like you bring him in on a 1-year deal, I feel like he's gonna do good. I think he's still got some gas left in the tank. Obviously, he's getting a little bit older, but I feel like for the Mets that would be good because that would be an upgrade over what they've had at DH in past years. Especially with recently with Vogelbach and that whole debacle. So we'll see. Actually, let's see. So there was the Mets, and then there was another team that was interested in him. But like I said, with the Mets, that would be a decent signing. Getting him in on a 1-year deal. Yeah. So the Mets and the Angels are eyeing JD Martinez. 33 home runs, 103 RBIs, and 61 runs scored through 113 games with the Dodgers in 2023. That's what John Heyman was reporting. So, yeah, I mean, again, with the Angels, look, they're looking to try to... I mean, they're not going to replace Ohtani, but, like, at least if you can get, a couple of free agents in here to, strengthen the lineup a bit, at least that's something. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Angels are really not going to end up with anything. I think for me, trade Mike Trout somehow. A team will probably want Trout and just go into a rebuild because it's not going to work. It's not working. And how silly they must feel that, Ohtani leaves and you got nothing for that. Whereas if you could have traded him at the deadline, you could have got like a haul for him, but they thought they could compete. After they, traded for a bunch of guys, it just it didn't really work out. And then Trout and Ohtani ended up getting hurt. So, for me, I think the Angels are probably just going to not end up with anything, but we'll see. We'll see. I could be wrong. Maybe they end up with Bellinger somehow. I don't know. But, yeah, that's pretty much it when talking about, off-season rumors. Let me know what you guys think. Where some of these free agents that are remaining, where do they ultimately end up? Hopefully, by the next time we do a show like this, we do a baseball podcast here, there'll be more, some of these names will be off the board and we can get into that. So, and again, exciting time because, we're going to have more shows, more new faces that you'll see here in the coming weeks. So that's something to definitely look forward to. But, yeah, so with that, we are going to take our final break of the show. And then when we come back, we're going to look at the updated World Series odds for, the top teams, after some of the bigger moves that were made so far here in the offseason. So that's what we will do when we come back from our final break of the show. So, once again, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast.